Let's slap a new coat of paint on it and call it a new review. It's STR Remastered. Hey there collectors, it is Steven here and welcome to the first ever STR Remastered review. What's that? Well, I go back in the archives and I take a look at a review that I think would be better if you can watch it in 4K, which I do have that rendering ability now. And what better way to kick this off on Godzilla Day of all things with a re-review of the MonsterArts Godzilla 2019 poster color version. This is a fan favorite, and with the ability to take a nice crisper look at this figure, I thought I'd go ahead and take a look at it. This was originally released in Japan only, put a pin in that for just a couple seconds, as a bundled release with Godzilla King of the Monsters home release, and was available on Amazon Japan. Now, Amazon Japan, for this release in particular, did ship pretty much worldwide, so if you were in the United States, where I am, you did have the possibility of getting this. There were a couple of other retailers that were able to get this as well. I don't remember off the top of my head where, but I do believe Ami had it as well, and even though orders did close pretty quick, yeah, pretty much everyone did have the opportunity to get their hands on it. However, orders did close very quick, and now, about 2 years after release, the prices have skyrocketed on the aftermarket. So, are you really thinking about getting this now? You're probably going to need a nice, crisp, and clean review to think about that. So the original review will stay up, so this way you can go back and take a look at my thoughts then. But for now, let's take another look to see whether or not this one is worth adding into your collection. Now, with all these years later, all these years being 2, and many different King of the Monsters molded Godzilla releases coming out, I do have to say that this one is going to be my favorite. Oh, spoilers, there's no reason to go to the end of the review. Actually, there would be quite a few, and this one I do think really looks nice. As you can kind of guess by the name, this one is modeled after the color scheme of Godzilla on the different posters for King of the Monsters, most particularly the one where he's going toe-to-toe with King Ghidorah. Now, it's not necessarily a one-to-one representation of that, but they did take some creative liberties, and I do think that this one does look very, very nice. The overall color scheme for this one is supposed to be sort of a darker blue, sort of trying to mimic a charcoal gray, as Godzilla sort of explodes into the tips of the dorsal plates into that blue he is so well known for when he is firing off his beam, which that is what he is doing in the poster. Now here, they did a rather nice job of getting some other accents and highlights on the figure. For example, he's going to have it on his thighs, which looks very good. He's going to have it on his arms, his forearms, which you wouldn't necessarily see that if it was just going to be his dorsal plates. Now, for the entirety of the figure, he's going to be cast in a translucent plastic, which looks very good. I will say one of the concerns that I have seen with some other ones, and I unfortunately believe mine is starting to fall victim to, may be a slight turning of green over the years. I hope this isn't going to be the case, but we shall unfortunately see. Where this figure does really excel, though, is going to be one, we don't have to worry about any eye paint, so kudos to Bandai on that one. But furthermore, we are going to have a fantastic application of blue paint going from, I would say, about the rib cage area of Godzilla, moving all the way down to about the tip of his tail in a slow gradient from a dark metallic blue all the way up to an almost teal to the tips of the dorsal plates, which quickly change to an almost black color, and it looks fantastic. Overall, is this a one-to-one representation and recreation of what we see on the posters? No, but it is very close, and quite frankly, if you were to try to recreate some of those scenes, it looks great. All right, so at this point, how many times have I gone over this Godzilla? So we have the original 2019, we have my original review of this, we have the Burning 2019, we have the event exclusive 2019, we have Godzilla vs. Kong, and then this one makes 6. Okay? All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and breeze through it. So the jaw is going to be on a double axis or barbell style ball joint, where a ball joint is going to be in the actual portion of the mouth sculpt and then also up into the head. So we can open and close Godzilla's mouth like that, and we can wiggle from side to side. That is going to be for the accessories feature, so this way you can pop the jaw out and put in the other one, so this way he can use his atomic blast. We have a series of neck ball joints here, so this way we can get Godzilla to look in all sorts of different directions, and most importantly, so this way he can use the gimmick effect of looking up into the air and shooting off his atomic blast, which is really cool. Now, continuing on from there, let's just get maybe a little bit better movement there. Shoulders. ball joints, which is really good, so we can rock them and twist them in and out. Can we spin the arms around? Yes, we can. Raise and lower them about that far, and that's about it. Now for the ball joints and the elbows, that's about as far we can move them. I say ball joints because you can see we can sort of rock them in and out. So not really a hinge where they plug into the bicep and the forearm, but in the inner workings there, those would be hinges. You can hear them sort of creaking around. Now, there's no true bicep swivel, but like I said, we do have ball joints there, so they do swivel around, which is very good. For the wrists, we are going to have swivel hinge combos, which is nice because they're going to swivel around at the base where they plug into the forearm, and then they're going to hinge in one specific direction wherever you have that set. As we know from the Godzilla vs. Kong release, the hands are going to be plugged in on a ball joint, but I'm not popping them off here since they're not intended to be. And at the time this review originally was published and this figure came out, we weren't supposed to swap any hands. Now, as you can see here, we do have a cut here, and that is going to be for a ball joint, which allows us to rock Godzilla around just like this. And then we do have a waist joint here, which allows us to twist and turn Godzilla from side to side. So, realistically speaking, the torso has some very good range of movement. You can get Godzilla into all sorts of fun poses. But as you notice, I'm sort of hesitating to really push Godzilla super duper hard and to pop stuff off. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. Hips are going to be on ball joints, so this way you can move them around like so. Very good range of movement. You can spin them all the way around. It's not a big issue. But just something to keep in mind, we do have the sculpt, and you don't really want to push because you don't really want to scratch anything. That's something to really keep in mind here, especially considering the value of the figure these days. So, knees, we are going to have a hinge there where the sculpt plugs it up, but we are going to be able to twist them a little bit. You can hear it creaking, so I want to be safe there. And then we do have a ball joint here at the split at the shin or calf area, or most commonly known as a boot cut, so you can do that. Ball joints and ankles allow you to spin and get ankle rocker movement, so that's good. Then the tail, we are going to have, as you can kind of see there, through that little gap, as people like to hate, we do have a system of ball joints in the tail. We can get it to go down about that far, up about that far, rock to side, which that is honestly my preferred movement. As we saw from some other Godzilla releases, preferably getting the tail up in the air, or even with some of the Monster Hunter MonsterArts releases, that would be better as well if they were able to do that. Now, something to really truly keep in mind here for these releases, Godzilla here is made of translucent plastic, and translucent plastic has a history of being rather fragile. So, something to keep in mind, yes, with the original vanilla 2019 release, I mean, I go ham with that thing. There's no issues there. Personally, with this one, I hear a lot of creaking and I hear a lot of cracking, and that's not an indicative sign of something that's going to, what's the word, not crack over time. And I don't want to put undue stress on this thing, so I want to make sure it's going to preserve for the years to come. So, the same exact engineering as all of the other MonsterVerse Godzillas from King of the Monsters to Kong. But for this one, I tend to baby it a little bit. Don't want to take any risks. Now let's go ahead and talk about accessories for this figure. Like I said at the top, this one does come bundled in with the home release of Godzilla King of the Monsters. However, this one is also going to come with all of the accessories that the vanilla Godzilla 2019 came with as well. That is going to be an alternate jaw part, so this way he can hold his beam in his mouth without a support stand. And the teeth paint, well, on the original release, it was not all that great. And here, it unfortunately does continue that tradition. Now, the only way that you're going to attach this is if you swap out the jaw part. Just be careful, apply heat if you really are scared, and just pop this back in. I have plenty of support stands. I don't need to use this jaw part, so I really don't use it. Now, the other accessory that we are going to get is actually going to be a poster backdrop, and this is a really neat accessory. Yes, this is included in the box set, so this way you can display Godzilla doing exactly what he's doing on one of the posters. Now, for this portion, I do have this sealed in the plastic just because I pulled this out of the box, because I don't really use this, because I just have this particular Godzilla standing on my MonsterVerse shelf as a, which I'll talk about in a minute, Spitfire Godzilla, because, I mean, this looks really good as that. So I don't really use that, but this does look very nice. And on the back, there is a little kickstand, so this way, if you were to display this freely, you could do that. Now, if you do need other effect parts like buildings, or maybe you want to get some flames like I showed you in one of the introductory shots, you know, I got not only videos to help you pick out effect parts and support stands, but I do have what I call an ultimate display video to help you pick out the best pieces to enhance your Godzilla displays. Now let's go ahead and move on over to a size comparison so you can see how big this Godzilla is. And quite frankly, over the last few years, if you don't quite know how big the MonsterVerse Godzilla is going to be in the SH Monster Arts line 2014, 2019, or 2021. I don't know what good this section is going to do for you. Now, let's go ahead and move on over to a comparison with the Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla. Why not the vanilla 2019? This one is going to be more on the market and was actually reissued, so there are plenty of folks who are going to have the chance to get this one. And furthermore, I think that the poster color 2019 is going to make a good representation for a Spitfire Godzilla. So this, I think, would be the most apt comparison at this time, which is going to be a reason that I'm doing some of these remastered reviews, if you will. Now, personally, I prefer this one for my Spitfire Godzilla, and I actually have a diet figure fight going over all of the MonsterArts Spitfire Godzillas. But as you can see here, if you are thinking about one over the other, well, here's a good comparison for you. So, buy now or skip, because deal went out the window way even before this figure was conceived. Look, this was rather expensive on release. I want to say about $160. Whew. Okay, now you had to get the whole box set, the whole kit and caboodle when this released. So obviously you were going to pay a lot. And kind of like I showed, if you're looking at a secondhand option in Japan where prices are a bit more tame, you're looking at least $300 from easily accessible sites in order to get a hold of this. So at this point, if you don't have this, you're going to be shelling out some money in order to get your hands on this. So here's the question. Do you like what you see, and do you not like the Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla release? If you answered those questions appropriately, then yes, this is absolutely worth picking up. But then you need to decide if it's worth dropping $300 on a 6-inch scale plastic dinosaur, or are you going to put that towards your gas, towards your groceries, towards maybe some video games that are coming out? The choice is going to be yours. It's good to put everything in perspective. Personally, at this point, if you don't have it, that's why I got a 4K review up for you. You can live vicariously. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.